and is dry.
I don't know if I want it.
Deep in the wilderness, some discoveries only create more questions. A lonely grave hidden far from any cemetery, and an unnatural scream coming from near a mine, sealed shut. Would you investigate or leave before something noticed you were there? On December 13th, 2025, Sophie of Outdoor Girl Sophie headed out alone for a camping trip in Woodland, beside a lake in Denmark near the area where she was raised. Her channel centers on peaceful solo camping and outdoor experiences. As rainwind and early darkness moved in the familiar surroundings, gradually began to feel unsettling. While Sophie walks toward the campsite, soaked ground, cold air, and fading daylight make the forest seem heavier than normal. Although she knows this area well, the quiet and early darkness deepen the complete sense of isolation there. Nothing has happened yet, but the surroundings already seem unwelcoming.
So I'm walking towards the campsite and I see this deer over here. Oh, I thought it was fake, but now it moved. What should I do? Should I go there? Is he gonna be angry? I'm a little bit afraid. Now he's just enjoying himself. I'm gonna try and go a little bit closer. So now it's lying down right behind this table. Maybe this is his spot or hers. So I guess I should find another place. I was planning to stay at this shelter here. It has a nice fire pit. So I'm actually really unsure what to do, because now I'm worried if it's sick. So it's just lying so still. I'm wondering if I need to call animal control in Denmark, but maybe it's normal. I don't know. I think I'm gonna try and call someone. I don't want it to be lying there in pain. Ikke når jeg nærmer mig altså tæt på den, eller siger høje lyde. Yes, tak. Lady told me to go close to it and check if I could see any wounds or diarrhea around it. But I was a little bit afraid to go too close and I couldn't see anything. She thinks that it might be because they're in mating season now, but she also asked me to send some pictures and videos, and then she would get back to me about what to do. But I'm also a little bit afraid to go close to it. If it's a male in mating season, they can be a bit dangerous. Now I've sent the pictures and a video to Animal Protection. Let's see what they find out. Luckily I have my tent, and then I'm gonna put it up over here.
At the shelter beside the lake, Sophie spots something she initially mistakes for a wooden figure. She realizes it is a deer standing still. Rather than running away, the animal stays there and later settles near the picnic table. As time passes without the deer moving, Sophie grows concerned. Wondering whether it might be injured, she contacts Animal Protection Services. She later learns the deer is exhausted from mating season, yet it remains nearby as daylight disappears.
The lady from Animal Protection just called me back. She says that even though the deer looks okay, it's very unusual that I can go that close. So she is gonna send out a guy who's gonna have a second look and see if there's anything that needs to be done. I'm gonna keep an eye out for him. Now I really think that it's sick. It has laid its head down into the ground. Even though I'm going very close by it, it's just laying completely still. I hope that that man is coming soon and that he's able to find me. So I just called the Animal Protection and they cancelled the guy who was on his way out here. Apparently they think, based on the video I sent, that it's just very tired from the mating season. It's just laying there waiting for a new partner. So now I'm gonna find another place to start a campfire. Now I need to get my fire going. I hope that I can, even with this very wet firewood that I found. So I was standing next to the tent and suddenly I saw the deer approaching me. I ran off, or I walked away, and the deer came all the way up to the tent, starting just smelling it. And now it's eating grass right next to the tent. So I went over to the second shelter, and then I saw some eyes light up in the dark behind the shelter. So now I'm a little bit worried that maybe it's a female deer looking to meet up with the deer next to my tent. And yeah, so now I crawled into this shelter. I've always heard that in mating season you should not go near it. It's getting later and later in the evening. I haven't made a fire yet, so I cannot cook any dinner without a fire. Do you see the eyes of the deer? It is just standing right next to my backpack, eating grass. So I have a lighter in my pocket, but my fire starters are in my backpack. And I don't have that much success starting a fire without that support. The food is also in my backpack. Maybe he will go away soon. I don't have any luck with this campfire. I think the wood is too wet. So I did manage to get my backpack now. The deer moved a few meters away from the table. So now I have all my stuff except for the tent, where the deer is still standing right next to it. I actually think that I'm gonna go home. Just as I was about to get up and leave, I called my dad and he calmed me down. Probably more afraid of me than I am of it. I have tried for almost an hour to get it going, and yeah, I think the wood is too wet. Now I'm sitting inside my tent. I am really hungry, and I have to try and see what I can cook for my dinner.
After setting up her tent in near darkness, the deer returns moving close to her backpack. Knowing the risks during mating season, Sophie decides not to cook outside. Wet wood makes starting a fire impossible, and she briefly thinks about leaving, calling her father for reassurance. Once the deer walks away, she chooses to stay.
Good morning. It has been very windy this night, and I actually see that one of the pegs have come out, so the tent is kind of collapsed. Luckily I have all my gear inside of the tent where I'm sleeping, so actually nothing happened.
The night remains quiet, but powerful winds partially collapse the tent by morning. As rain returns, Sophie packs up leaves no trace and walks back toward the trail, ending the trip safely, but unsettled. Some viewers see harmless curiosity, while others warn that prolonged, fearless wildlife behavior may become unpredictable. When nature acts differently than expected, do you trust explanations, or the instinct warning you to stay cautious? On December 9th, 2025, Gavin of the YouTube channel Groovy Gavin explores some of the creepiest real animatronics still publicly displayed. His channel focuses on unsettling places and the psychology of fear. Visiting locations across the United States and beyond, Gavin tries to understand why certain human-like machines create discomfort even when no actual danger is present.
I'm starting in a little place you've probably never heard of called Billy Bob's Wonderland. As you can see, there's literally no one here. There's one other car that might be the owner. It is open though. Oh my gosh, here they are. There's a ton of animatronics here that all come from an old pizza place called Showbiz Pizza. When I first walked into this little arcade slash pizza place, I ran into one of the only people there, one of the workers. Do people come here usually just for this?
Oh yeah, they'll sit there all day and just push the button.
Letting all the buttons play a show. Back to the animatronics and how creepy I think they are. A lot of the creepiest videos I see of animatronics, it's all like really bad quality. So I think that kind of adds to the creepiness. So starting off with the left of the stage, the Rolf and Earl Show. These two guys don't sing like the rest of them. They're meant to be a side stage comedy act between an alpha wolf and his ventriloquist dummy.
On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love said to me, I got it.
Moving over to the center of the stage is the Rockafire Explosion Band. We got Duke LaRue on the drums. His eyes are tweaked out. He's definitely the most chill out of all of them. We got Beach Bear, who has some really creepy old videos. And Mitzi Mozzarella. She kept winking at me. Next, we got the monkey. That's Geronimo on the keyboard. But the main mascot and star of the show is Billy Bob himself, who is just over on the right. He actually just looked at me. We got Billy Bob, who I know a lot of people say online is one of the most terrifying animatronics that still exists today. He also has this friend Looney Bird, who I do think is a lot more creepy, and I even found some videos of him being made. They all play different shows. I can't play any of the audio, unfortunately, because it will copyright me, but it changes from time to time, and it definitely makes the whole thing a bit more uncanny. I think the biggest reason they're creepy to me is their eyes. That's the first thing I look at people. It really does feel like they're looking at you. So I'll group all of these together and give them an uncanny rating of 7.5.
Gavin starts at Billy Bob's Wonderland, where animatronics from the Showbiz Pizza era remain preserved. These figures were created for live stage shows, but age and modifications have changed their appearance. Their faces, especially the eyes, no longer show clear expressions, turning the mood from playful to disturbing as the investigation continues.
We're in San Francisco. We traveled very far here for one thing and one thing only, and this animatronic is called Laughing Sal. People seem to say this is one of the most like creepy or uncanny ones, so Musée Mécanique. Here it is. Dude, it's so loud, bro. Why did they make this? If I was a kid, I would 100% have nightmares about this. It's the sound that makes it so bad. Like, it actually sounds scary. The purpose of this was to stand outside of rides or attractions and like just non-stop laugh. It was to get people's attention. It became standard practice for any carnival or fair to have one of these. I think what makes this one so weird is like, the movements are so unnatural. And then the laughing, whoever recorded that, it just sounds terrifying. I'm gonna have to give this one an uncanny rating of 6. I just don't think it was that creepy to me. But what was cool about the place that had Laughing Sal is they had a ton of other animatronics. This one's kind of creepier. I'm not gonna lie, this one's so much more like uncanny to me. Like, look at the eyes, bro.
Bro, imagine all of them laughing at the same time in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh, that would be awful.
His next stop is Laughing Sal at San Francisco's Musée Mécanique. Created to attract attention with loud laughter and constant movement, the animatronic relies on repetition instead of performance. Years of mechanical wear have altered its rhythm, making the experience feel intrusive rather than entertaining.
We're here with the animatronics. They are creepy, but it's kind of familiar, man. It's kind of comfy. Like, I feel like a little kid again. But what's crazy about these that I mentioned earlier is all of these were converted from the ones at Showbiz Pizza to these ones now here at Chuck E. Cheese. First, we got Helen Henny. She was the creepiest. Her eyes are terrifying. And then we got Mr. Munch. This is the man on the keyboard. He kept clocking me, like just staring at me. But I believe this is what the gorilla was turned into. Then we got Jasper T. Jowls, probably the same as Beach Bear, I believe. Pascally P. Pieplate. This is the drummer. This is probably what the dog got turned into from Showbiz Pizza. And then finally, we got the main man, Chucky himself, which obviously, like I mentioned earlier, this is what Rolf turned into. Definitely when you get closer to them, they're all a little bit creepier. I don't know if they were glitching out, but when the curtains lowered when they weren't playing music, they like keep moving after. It's kind of creepy.
Keep running, Levi. I love it.
Oh shit,
Oh,
that's
what
kinda
the-
scared me.
Oh my gosh.
We see you.
Is he still moving?
Yeah.
Why is he still moving?
Look
Look
down.
at his drum.
And that was the final animatronic that I visited. And I did feel the most uncanny at this one.
At a Chuck E. Cheese location that still uses animatronics, Gavin captures an unusual moment after the show ends. Once the curtains close, the figures keep moving without coordinated choreography. Although explained as a normal mechanical condition, the unscripted motion after the performance becomes the most unsettling point of the investigation. Even without real danger, unclear eye direction and movement at unexpected moments can create deep psychological unease. When machines are designed to imitate life, where does harmless design stop and discomfort begin? On October 8, 2023, somewhere in the United Kingdom, the creator behind Camper Vibe headed out for an unusual night of wild camping. The plan was simple: try new gear, celebrate a birthday, and spend the night in a heavily populated woodland.
We're going camping. Now, I know the videos, like most things in life, but unfortunately she is not with us this week. We're going to give wild camping a go. Exciting actually, because I am looking forward to it. I saw Louise off on her little jollies the other day.
The evening began peacefully. The tent went up, the hammock was tested, and dinner was enjoyed as darkness moved in. But as the night grew deeper, the forest seemed louder. Minor noises felt nearby, and every rustle appeared to continue longer than expected. They slept apart that night, one in the hammock, the other alone inside the tent, and unease slowly settled in. Sleep came, but it remained restless. During the early hours, a vivid nightmare began. The experience felt real, intense, and truly terrifying, leaving her frozen and unable to respond.
You got like a little porch bit in the tent. Was like there was a man sitting there and he was pushing and pulling my feet, trying to call Louise, but it just wouldn't come out. And then by the time I could actually speak her voice, she was dead anyway, and her arm just flopped out of the hammock. So that...
You're killing me off with a dream.
Honestly, so many freaky dreams. And then stupid Joni, before we left, was like, oh no. So midnight, witching hour. I'm like, oh great, it's like 5 to 12, Blair Witch is coming out. So I had to get over my own head, to be fair.
She woke abruptly, heart pounding and body trembling, uncertain how long she had been asleep. By morning, everything looked normal. There were no footprints, no signs of activity, and no evidence that anything had happened at all. The woodland was silent once again.
Crime documentary watcher, and normally that's okay, but when you come to the forest and you hear all the noises.
Like camping in the mountains is going to be for you with a hiking element involved. My friend Matt and myself went to Dartmoor and had this epic view over a quarry, so I think that's what sort of gave you the...
Then she brought me to the forest where there's loads of noises. And
We live in the southeast, we've only got small hills, very small hills, and we're limited with options down here, aren't we?
anyway, it was a good night. It was a little bit chilly. Had to put my coat on. I had to take this away. But yeah, we need to pack up. But before we do, you've had breakfast.
The night ended without incident, but the fear lingered, showing how strongly the mind can react in unfamiliar surroundings. When nothing physical occurs, but the fear still feels real. Do you trust the experience or only what you can prove? The creator of the Red Poppy Ranch YouTube channel had tried several times to find something strange that local stories said was hidden somewhere on his property. The video covering this search was uploaded on June 18, 2017. After 3 unsuccessful attempts, he chose to make one final search, heading out on his ATV. During this trip, he spotted an old fence post matching a description previously given by a friend. It seemed to belong to an abandoned livestock corral, suggesting he was finally nearing the place he had been trying to find. Just minutes later, he arrived at an overgrown patch of land that looked clearly different from the area around it. There he found a small grave concealed within the brush.
Oh, what do we got here? There we go. I'm gonna go see if I can figure out what happened.
The marker carried the name of a boy who had been only 1 year old, born during the late 1940s. The discovery was unexpected and deeply disturbing. Red Poppy Ranch sits in a small town where most people know one another. However, when he asked around locally, nobody recognized the name shown on the grave marker. Additional searches of public records produced nothing. No documents or explanations could be located. The only confirmed detail is that the winter of 1949 was unusually severe, which might explain how the child died, but not why he was buried alone so far from a cemetery. With records gone and memories disappearing, how many stories like this are hidden, and what would you do if you discovered one yourself? In 1986, 19-year-old Christopher Knight disappeared from his home in Maine and decided to live alone deep in the woods. He never gave a clear explanation for that choice. To survive, he secretly took food from dozens of nearby cabins and campsites. Over the years, he also gathered clothing, camping gear, propane tanks, batteries, and other basic supplies. As residents realized belongings were disappearing, some people intentionally left food outside, hoping to prevent nighttime break-ins. Although locals suspected someone might be living nearby, one fact was obvious: Christopher did not want anyone to find him. He went to great lengths to remain hidden. He never started a fire because he feared the smoke would expose his location, even through brutal winters when temperatures fell to about 10 degrees Fahrenheit. As surveillance cameras became more widespread, several thefts were eventually captured on video. Then, 27 years after he vanished, Christopher activated a motion sensor while trying to take food from a camp. Police responded and caught him there. It was his first direct interaction with another person in decades. Authorities determined that he was responsible for thousands of small thefts throughout the area. He was later sentenced to 7 months in jail and 3 years of probation. After his arrest, a blogger looking for a wild camping spot accidentally found Christopher's former campsite. It held a large collection of objects gathered over many years, confirming that it had been his hidden shelter. Christopher's story shows how far a person can go to escape society. Was it survival, isolation, or personal choice? And could anyone remain unseen for that long today without being discovered? Safety Third is a YouTube channel run by an explorer named Jed, known for solo trips into remote and hazardous places. His videos focus on abandoned mines hidden deep in the wilderness, revealing real dangers such as cave-ins, narrow passages, and isolation. The video covering this experience was uploaded on January 1st, 2025. Jed headed out to investigate a group of old mines in a remote valley. On the way, he crossed an icy stream, moved through thick woods, and climbed over an abandoned railroad bridge. During the hike, a sudden crash echoed from the hillside. Something heavy had broken free and fallen nearby.
Something's knocking wood up there. I don't know, it's weird.
At first, there seemed to be a simple explanation, but the sense of being watched slowly set in. The farther he traveled, the more disturbing the surroundings became. Soon afterward, sharp rhythmic knocking noises came from the woods, sounding like repeated blows against wood. The pattern did not seem natural, and the tension kept increasing. When Jed arrived at the mine entrances, the atmosphere changed. Most openings had been blocked with metal bars, concrete, and heavy welding. It felt less like ordinary safety precautions, and more like a deliberate effort to prevent access. Peering into one sealed tunnel revealed a long, solid passage fading into darkness.
But there's artifacts. How do we get over this? This old electrical, freaking concrete man door. I can't tell how old that is. How is this even in there? Is it bolted? Oh, it's welded and then they bolted into the rock.
Then, a sudden scream echoed through the trees. It did not sound like an animal, and it did not seem human either. The noise stopped him in place and changed everything.
And it's dry. What the freak? was weird.
Jed chose to leave trusting instinct instead of curiosity. The source of the sound was never discovered, and the sealed mines only deepened the unease. In a place like that, would you continue forward or turn back? On February 15, 2016, a channel named Snowmobile's Snow Track uploaded one of the most frightening wildlife encounters ever captured. The video shows a man riding his snowmobile through the remote Alaskan wilderness. Suddenly, a massive moose stepped onto the trail. The rider chose to stop his machine, hoping to give the animal time to move away peacefully. But what seemed like a simple pause on the snowy path quickly became a life-threatening encounter.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, hey, hey. Get.
Without warning, the enormous animal turned and charged straight toward him. The rider first tried to scare it away, but his actions only made the animal more aggressive. With no time left to react, he pulled out his firearm and fired until the moose fell to the ground. Wild animals can behave unpredictably, and being far from help makes any wilderness emergency even more dangerous. If you were alone, what would you do if a huge wild animal blocked your only way forward? Our next intense clip comes from Folks Hare, hold a South African survival channel focused on solo camping in active wildlife areas near Kruger National Park. The footage emphasizes awareness tracking and reading animal behavior in dangerous environments. On April 22, 2026 in South Africa's KwaZulu-Leseri area.
Yeah, there was a hippo bull that walked here last night, probably. Walked down this way. Scatterlings of the dung. Yeah, I'm just walking quietly down here, just still looking for a place to spend the night. Check that out. Also something died out here. Seems there was a little bit of a disturbance here, but this is old.
The landscape is active from the start. Fresh hippo droppings, buffalo tracks, and signs of a recent kill are found in the same area, showing that these animals are moving through the same space.
See, that's the thing. I do think they come here in here at night. That's a big hyena track here. When I camp near here, I often hear them use this as a highway to go to wherever they want at night.
He checks the distance between his campsite and the water, aware that wild animals frequently gather there. That leaves him with a difficult choice: remain in the middle of a heavily used animal route or attempt to relocate camp as daylight disappears.
Okay, something interesting, guys. I just spotted it now. I didn't see it on the way in. But this over here is a wild dog track, an African wild dog. That's a very rare dog species in Africa, and you can see the nails there as they were running. There are a few here actually. Maybe they're still in the area, but they cover a lot of distance sometimes. Oh, that would have been awesome. But still awesome to see. Very nice.
Once darkness arrives, the threat feels immediate. He hears hyenas calling nearby and realizes that a leopard is also moving close to his position. Although he cannot see them, he relies on experience and their sounds to estimate where they are turning an unseen danger into something immediate and real.
Again, woke me up. But yeah, pretty cool night, eh? Still a cool night. It's probably about the baboon squatting. Yeah, lots of night sounds tonight. Definitely spotted something. Yeah, my fire is dead. And yeah, it's pretty dark tonight. Very dark.
The night soon becomes chaotic and loud. Lions roar from several directions, baboons answer with screams, and the surrounding brush keeps rustling. Instead of one clear sound to follow, he hears a confusing mixture of animal calls. With everything happening at the same time, he cannot focus on a single animal. He only knows he is surrounded. His mindset changes as a result.
But I couldn't wake up. And it was a dream. There was nothing coming. Afterwards I woke up and it was dead quiet. It would have been a bummer because the trail camera, the battery's dead. It's not taking any video, but nothing came by. I think I would have woke up unless a leopard snuck by. It's so nice up there. It's freedom to the next level. You're up in the trees. It is just a different experience. I slept well. I got cold like about...
Sleep becomes nearly impossible. He remains constantly alert, and the non-stop noise begins to feel overwhelming, rather than merely frightening all night as different animal calls overlap around him. The entire experience is shaped by the large number of wild animals nearby. The danger grows gradually, starting with tracks on the ground and ending with animals being heard all around him. Although nothing attacks the tent, the most frightening part is simply how close the animals come. By morning, fresh tracks beside the tent confirm that the wildlife never stopped moving. He had been camped directly in the middle of their routes. Camping directly on an animal path quickly shows just how unpredictable the wild can be. Could you remain calm while hearing dangerous animals outside in complete darkness, or would you pack everything and leave immediately?
Hackles are up and her ears laying back. Well, we would like to get through. It's supper time. I don't know if I want my window down when she's doing that. We just want to get by, lady.
He's not letting us by. Come on, miss. We don't want anything to do with you. God. Get out of here. We're gone.
The enormous female moose plants herself across the trail, acting aggressively with her ears pressed flat against her head. Each time the men inside the vehicle try to carefully move forward, the animal immediately reacts with open hostility. Determined not to let the truck through, she attacks the vehicle on 2 separate occasions. First, she slams her head into the heavy front grille and then drives her massive shoulder hard into the side of the truck. Despite the powerful impacts, the hunters inside stay completely calm. They understand that her aggressive behavior is not simply random rage. Instead, it comes from the desperate protective instinct of a wild mother fiercely guarding her hidden calves. When wild animals defend their young, a thick metal door may be the only real barrier between safety and sudden disaster. How would you respond if a huge animal suddenly began ramming your vehicle?